Morning everyone, this is Mr. Ndabezita and this is our first tutorial in software development dealing with the GUI application form. So I just want to quickly just go here and create a new project, and this new project that we have, it will be a Windows form. Do not go for the .NET framework, go for a Windows form. And when we are here, just a few things that we just have to name. Now the first one is just providing a functionality to buttons. So let's just say providing functionality to a button. That's a lengthy word to save as a project name, but that's fine. And we can use the .NET 6.0, and let's just create our Windows form. So this will be the basic for us to learn and understand, and we will build from here and create some other tutorials. So it is very important that we understand the basic functionality of these forms. One most important thing that we need to note is that we don't have the console.writeline. We're not going to use the console.writeline in order to prompt the user for something. We are going to use what we call a label for that. A label will act as a prompt that tells the user exactly what to insert, and the text box will receive what the user enters. And we will of course have a button that will be able to perform a certain functionality, and when you click on the object, which we call a button, it will be able to execute some function. So this is just the basic thing that we will love to look at. Right, that is fine. There it is. We have our form displayed right in front of us, and what we will do first is just to go and change the name of this form. We will go to properties, you will go to text where there's form 1 written, and you will delete that, and you will say, okay, let me just call this hello, because this is what we want to display. Hello visual world. And then you press enter, and then the name will change like that. And then the first thing that we need to have here, we need to have a label. We want to try this with a label, so you can just come here, wait for it to load up, and you can have a label. So what you need to do is to hold on to the label and drag the label to the Windows form, and we will place this label here. Right click on the label, go to properties, and we want to have the very same name inside of this text, just as we had in the form on top there. So I will still say hello visual world, and I will press enter, and there it is. Okay, this is fine. And then I need to find a button, so let me just find a button. I will drag the button here, I will just place the button here. I will then go to the properties and say the name of the button is just click, and you press enter, and there we are. So let's just run this by pressing Ctrl and F5 and see if it will run. Now when we press that, here we are. and I can click on the button and nothing will happen, and I have hello visual world. Just as I had it here, there it is. But one thing you should notice, the color here has changed. There's a border, a blue border around this button. That's fine, it's the default border, and there we have it there. That's fine. Now suppose when this program executes, when you run this, you don't want to have immediately this hello world. What you want to do, you want when you click on the button, it can appear there. So how can we achieve such a functionality? We can come here, properties, and we can go to visibility. Now the visibility is true. This tells you that when this code compiles, just as we saw, it will display the visibility of what is inside of this label which you have written hello visual world. Now if we don't want the visibility to be true, we can make it false. That is to say, when this compiles, it will not show the visibility, it's false. And I can just get rid of this, Control F5, try to run this the second time and see if this will be true. And here we are. The visibility of what is written inside of the label, it's false. And when I click here, nothing is happening. So I need to perform a specific functionality inside of the click event, so that when I click, I will have this hello visual world displayed there. So how do I do that? Now I have to go to the button. I want to provide functionality to this button. So what you need to do is to double click on this button. And when you double click on the button, this is exactly what will happen. You will be taken into this partial class form. It inherits from the form. We dealt with inheritance in console app, so you know exactly what this is. But we haven't yet dealt with a partial class. We will deal with that when time allows us to do so. This is the namespace. Never mind all this, just leave it as it is. So we are interested inside of the button. Now when I click the button, the first thing that I want to transpire is the label 1, which is this label. Remember, it's a label, so I only have one of this label, so it's label 1. So the label 1, I want the label 1. What is it that I want from that? I want the label 1 dot visible. There's a visible there. Label 1 dot visible to be equals to true. I know the visibility it's false, but I want to make the visibility to be true. So when I click on the button, it will go to label 1 dot visible. Remember where that is. It will go here and it will make this visible true so that it can be able to display this, but that will only happen when I press the click event. Let's go back. So I want the label 1 dot visible to be equals to true. This is the functionality that I am providing when you press the button. All right, that's fine. That is very fine. Let's run our code and see if this will be possible. Right, here we are. I have provided a functionality inside of this click event. The functionality says when you click here, go to label 1 dot visible, make that true so that it can be able to appear here. And when I click here, there it is. This is the functionality that I have provided inside of the click event or inside of the button. All right, that is fine. That's just one thing worthy of noting. That's one thing worthy of looking at. And then once we have looked into that, and I have assumed that we have understood, we can go to something else. We can of course go to something else. And the question is, what is this something else that we want to look at? Alright, let me just do this. I want to look for some problems that they can provide here, and here is one. Right, secondly, what I want to do now, I have done this and you have saw how that works. Let's go to this form, and now let's take this hello world and just place it here. I want to have a prompt, and in this prompt that I want to have, I want the user to insert a certain number of greetings. I want to accept a number from the user. For example, I will say to the user, how many greetings do you want? Maybe we'll say I need 4, and when you click the button, it will display those hellos, 4 of them. First of all, we will display these hellos on one line, and then nextly we will display them one after another. So let's see how such a code can work. Now remember, we said in the Windows Form application GUI, we are not going to have a right line, but we are going to use labels, and we are going to use text in order to accept and do whatever that needs to be done. So text box will be used for input of the user, and label will be used as a prompt message that shows the user what needs to be typed inside of the box. Very important. So I will come here, because it is a label. What I will do when I'm here, I will first have a message. So I want to say how many greetings do you want? And what is this now? This, okay, let me have a question mark there. Let me have a question mark. Sorry. Okay, let me go back. Let me go to properties. Right, let me just say how many greetings do you want, and press enter. All right, so this is what we have. We have how many greetings do you want as a prompt message. It's like in the console app, we are saying console.writeLine, how many greetings do you want? But using a Windows form, we will use labels for console.writeLine displaying a message to the user, and we will use a text box for accepting that. So let's go here and just have a text box. We will drag the text box here, and we will just put it closer there. Very good. Okay, let me just do this, and let me take the click and place it there. All right, that is fine. Or I can take it a little bit higher. That's also okay. So the text box will be responsible for taking what the user types in, and it will store that inside whatever that needs to be stored. But I'm going to provide functionality here. So this is a prompt message using a label. This is accepting user input using a text box. So now let me go to the functionality here. Now what I'm going to do inside of this button, I'm no longer going to say visibility because we are done with this one. What I want in this one, now remember, the user is going to input an integer number. So I will declare a variable of type int, and this is equals to int num. Right, that is fine. So now what is going to happen here? I know that the user is going to enter an integer there. So I'm going to say num is equals, so let me just bring in the convert. We dealt with this in the previous tutorials. This is just an import using static system dot convert. Very good. So when the user types in that integer number, so I'm just going to convert that to an int 32. Now what am I converting? I am converting what is inside the text box 1 dot text. So what does this mean? It simply means that I am taking what is inside of text box 1. We only have one text box here, it is. So I am taking what is inside text box 1. I am receiving that as a text. I am converting that to an int 32, and I'm saving that inside of num. And I know it will be an integer. Very good. That is fine. Now once that has been done, I have accepted the number from the user. That is fine. I have converted that number, and I have done what now? I have saved that inside of num. That's fine. That is very, very fine. Right, what is it that I want now? Now remember, the user will enter this number 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever that is. Now what I want to do is to display those hellos, those number of hellos based on what the user will input. So I will need a loop for that. So what I will do, I will have an int, and I will call this a counter, like that, just as we did in a console app. And I will say 4, then counter is equals, if I start at 0, okay, let's start at 0, and if I start at 0, then the counter should be less than the num. But if I start at 1, I will say less or equal. Then I will increment that counter by 1. Right, that is fine. And then what is it that I want to output now? Now let's go back. I do not have a label that will output those hellos here. So I need to come here, copy this, and paste it here. Right, let me just paste it there. And then I will go to properties, and I will get rid of all this. There's currently nothing of text inside of this label. Enter. Right, that is fine. So I have a text box number 2. So what should happen when I am there? Right, I want to say text box 2, sorry man, label 2 dot text plus, and this is equals to what now? It is equals to what I want to display there. So I want you to display for me hello, and then once you have displayed that hello, I will be happy. So let me just do this, hello, and have some space. So what I'm going to do to see that we have these number of hellos, let's just have that space. Now when I say label 2.text, you are adding to that. Now remember this, we dealt with the console app. It's label 2.text equals label 2.text plus hello. So I am keeping on adding to the label 2.text. And what am I keep on adding? It's hello. And it will display this on the same line because I don't have a new line character escape character shown up here. So let's just see whether this app will run the way in which we want. So control F5 and let's see exactly what might transpire in this. Right, so here we are. Okay, sorry, let me go back here and try to change the visibility to true. Sorry, so let's just change the visibility to true. Very good. And then we can just run this code once more. So here we are. How many greetings do you want? Suppose we enter the number 6. Right, we have that 6. And I know there's a functionality here, the click, and when I click this, it should display 6 hello 6 times in this form, in this horizontal form. And when I click here, nothing is happening. As you can see, there's nothing happening. Now we need to ask ourselves why. Let's go back to the button click. Here we are, we have clicked the button, but nothing is happening. So we need to ask ourselves, why is this happening? Right, the first thing that we did was to take the int that the user inputs inside of textbox1.text, convert that to an int and save that to num. That is fine, no problem with that. Now once that has been done, so what is it that it's a problem here? Now we are taking that number inside of the textbox1.text and we are saving that inside of num. But when we run our code, nothing is happening there. We don't have any display there. Why is it so? So let's come back here, and what we will do when we are here is to change this and say num, and let's see if this will work. No, it will not work. Why? Because we are inside of text box 1. We are taking what you are typing inside of text box 1 as a text and saving that in this manner. That is fine, there is no problem with that. And then we said we have an int, which is a counter, and then we have a for loop. Okay, so in this for loop we are saying the counter is equals to 0, the counter should be less than the num. Okay, and then we are incrementing that like that. Okay, that's fine, we can do it in this way or we can do it in that way, it will not make any difference. Now we are saying label2.text, right? Label2.text, we are adding to that, and then what are we adding? We are just adding this code. That's exactly what we are doing. And where are we doing all this? We are doing all this inside of the click, the button click. And let's try to run this once again. Control F5, and I input a number 6, and I press on the click, and nothing again is happening. So why is this so? We need to ask ourselves, why is this so? All right, let us try to check. This is what should be executed. Let me just remove that and run the code once more and check if there would be any difference. I will enter a 6 and I will press on the click, and nothing is still happening. All right, now we have a problem. Right, let's make some few changes now. Now we have this int, which we can just say, I can just come here. Instead of doing that, I can just come here and say int is equals to that. Okay, that's fine. So from there, that's fine. I have the text box one.text, which is very correct. I have my int counter, that's fine. We are starting from 0, less than the counter should be less than the number, that is true. Right, because I entered 6, so 0 is less than 6, and I am incrementing the counter in this form. And then I have my output, which is labeled to.text. I'm adding to that, and I am displaying hello. So everything seems fine. I have it's not text box 2, it's not label 2. Remember, we have label 1, we have label 1. Yes, it's label number 2. Yes, it is label number 2, label 2.text plus, and I'm adding to that. So this should happen exactly the way we want. Yes, it's label 2. You see, we only have label 1 and label 2. So label 2.text plus equals, this is what I want to have, hello. It should be able to do what we want. So it will accept a number 6, and when I click here, it should be able to show me that. We should be able to see that. So it doesn't want to do that. Okay, let me, I don't know why this is happening. I don't know why. And this is inside the click event. Okay, maybe it needs to be created on a new Windows form. Let me just leave that as it is. Let me just create. Let's try to create this in a new Windows form, and maybe it will work, because I don't know why it cannot do exactly what we want in that one, but everything was fine. It should have worked correctly. It should have worked correctly, so it didn't, and I don't know why. So let me just come here, view, and we will say toolbox, and we will need a label. So we will need a label. I'm going to try and do things a little bit more faster. how many greetings do you want? Very good. And I will have a text box. I will just place it there. Very good. And I will have a button. I will take the button and place it here. I will just rename the button as click. Okay, and I will just copy this and paste. I will just copy this and paste. I will just put it here. I will go to properties and I will get rid of that. That's fine. I will go to the click event. I will declare an int num which is equals okay, convert dot to int 32. So this is text box 1 dot text. That is fine. And then from there I will have an int which I will call the count, and I will use a for loop. Count, I will initialize it with 0, and count should be less than num, and I will increment the count. Okay, now inside of this loop I will say label 2 plus is equals to hello. Label 2 dot text plus equals to hello. All right, this is what I will do inside of label 2. So I have this functionality. I am receiving a number in text box 1 dot text, converting that to an int, storing that, and doing this. So this is the functionality I have inside of the button. So let me just quickly run this and check. I will have 6 and I will, there it is. So it wanted us to do this in a different application. So I have 1 2 3 4 5 6 hellos. So I can display them in this way, or I can display, once you have displayed one hello, now move to a new line, display them in a vertical form. And when we press Ctrl F5 and I press 6, and I will have those hellos displayed like that. So this is just one thing worthy of noting. And once we have understood that, and assuming that everything is fine, let's go to another application, because I can see that it wants us to write these things in different applications. So we are done with this one. Let's just go to a new project. It is a Windows form. I will not name that anything, and let's just do this. Now this time what I want us to do, we want to calculate the balance of an individual, and every time this individual presses the yes or no, it will display the calculated balance based on a certain interest rate. So this is exactly what we will be doing. So here we are in the form, the very first things that we need, because we will have a yes and a no, so we need two buttons. So we need the first button. There it is. Copy this and we duplicate that. We have the second button. I'm just going to place them like this. This will be the yes button and this will be the no button. And I'm going to provide functionalities inside of these buttons. Right, remember I need to prompt the user, do you want to see your balance? So I will need a text, a label. So here is the label, and this label will be a message, something like a prompt. So I will just say, do you want to see your balance? And this will be the message that is displayed. Very good. Here we are. Do you want to see your balance? And he will click yes or he will click no, and the balance will be displayed underneath. So I will need a label. Let me use a label here. It's label 3. Oh, we had a label 1, so let me just delete this. Let me take this label. So this is the first label. Let's always keep that in our mind. So this will be label 1 and it will have nothing. So that's label 1. Please, let's always remember that. Now let me provide a functionality inside this button, the yes button. You can just come here, remember we dealt with this, and you can rename this and you can just say yes button and you can press enter, and on the background it will rename this without creating any errors for us. So we are in the yes button. Now inside of the yes button, if the user chooses to click the button yes, now the first thing that I want to do is to have a double, and this double will be the balance, and I will initialize this balance with 1,000. Now secondly, I will have a constant double, and this will be the rate because it's not going to change, and it will be 0.04. Right, and once I have the rate and I have the balance, now what is it that I want to do here? Now remember, the user is going to click yes or no. So one thing that I want to do, I want to display a message with the balance. So I just want to say, okay, I just want to say label 1 dot text, it's equals to and I just want to say, okay, let me say string dot format, because I want to use placeholders in this. And what I want to say is I just want to say bank balance is, and then it will display your bank balance. That's fine. And once it has displayed that bank balance, I want to move to a new line. So I'll have a comma here. So I will display the balance dot to string with some currency attached to that. This is all what I want to do. And then once that has been done, I want to calculate the balance. as being equals to balance plus the balance multiplied by the rate. So the balance is equals to balance plus balance multiplied by the rate, and it will save that inside of the balance. Right, that it's fine, nothing mysterious about that. So I'm just overriding the value here once it has been displayed. But I want to add, to keep on adding to the label here. So I need to say plus. I am adding to that. Sorry, undo. So I am adding to that. So I just keep on adding to the label1.text. So it will say the balance is, initially it will print 1,000 with some currency there, and then once it has printed that, it will go to a new line, and then it will make the calculation, remember, and then once the calculation has been made, and then it will add that to the label.text, and so on. So it will keep on doing this as long as I press the yes button. I can go to the no, and I will say label1 dot text, label1, I will say label1 dot text is equals, if you press no, then it will just say to you, have a nice day, as the text that is displayed there. So this is what I have inside of the button 2. I can rename this one as well and just say this one is the no button, and it will rename that for me on the background. Okay, label1.text equals to this. Now let's just try to run our code and see exactly what will transpire there. So do you want to see your balance? And I will press on the yes button. Bank balance, it's 1,000 rand, because that's the initial amount that I have. I have said initially the amount is that. So this is the initial amount that I have. Balance currently it's 1,000. I press on the yes, and when I press the yes once again, it has calculated this, and then it will add on a new line, it will add to that. So when I press yes, it's supposed to calculate that balance. You see, it keeps on adding, but the values are not changing. So let's go and check what might be the problem. So here we are in here, and we have some flags here, something like a complaint. So when we hover over this, it says unnecessary assignment of value to the balance. Why is it unnecessary value to the balance? Why is it so unnecessary? I don't see anything unnecessary with that. I just honestly do not see it. So when you hover here, use compound assignment, and if there are any potential fixes, let's check what those potential fixes might be. So balance equals the balance plus the rate, balance plus equals that. So we are adding to the balance. Okay, let's use that one and check whether it will be happy. So we are saying balance, this is the same as saying balance equals balance plus balance times the rate. So this is just a simplified version like this. So we are adding to the balance. So if that is the solution, which is the very same thing that we did, let's check if things will change. and nothing is changing, everything is still the same way. So it will keep on doing this as long as you keep on pressing the yes, and nothing is happening, irrespective of this mighty effort that I have done. So is there something wrong that we have done? Was there something wrong? I don't see something wrong that we have done, but now there's a red flag shown here, and it's still an unnecessary assignment to the balance, and there seems to be no solution for that. Okay, let's check. It says that, okay, if you are happy with that, let's just run the code and check. And I press yes for the first time, it's fine. Secondly, nothing is happening. So there is truly nothing wrong with this. So balance plus equals to that. Okay, balance equals the balance plus that. So balance equals balance plus balance times the rate. But it seems like nothing is working to our satisfaction, and nothing is wrong with what we have done. But when we try to run our code, nothing is working. Nothing is just working. So I don't know what might be the problem there. I truly do not know what might be the problem, because to me everything is fine. Honestly, everything is fine. So let me just look at the no button. No, have a nice day. That one is fine, but the calculations are not done here inside of the yes button, and for what reason that should be, I honestly do not know. I honestly do not know why things are the way in which they are. So I don't know why. I don't know why it has a problem when I'm overriding that value. I honestly do not know why. I honestly do not know why. I honestly do not know why, but that's how just the program it's supposed to work. The program it's supposed to take the value when you press the yes and add to the 1000 the 0.04% of that. Why it doesn't do that, I truly do not know. So let's just leave it as it is, and this is all what I wanted to show you guys. Unfortunately this cannot compile, so that's fine. I will see you in the next tutorial.